Yes, and actually I think what's brilliant about Girl on the Train is the fact that it each format uses the format in its best way. And I actually hadn't read the book. I was writing at the time, so it was one of those things where I'm going to finish writing and then I'll read it. So it was on my to-be-read pile. I had it, but I didn't get around to it. Then the film came out. I was like, I can't watch the film because I've not read the book. And then the script landed with me, and I read it and I just loved it. It's funny, but it's also heartbreaking. I feel like Rachel's one of those characters that carries her heart around with her the whole time. But she does what so many of us do, which is deflect with humour. And for that reason, it's such a brilliantly complex, beautiful part to play. So after I read the script and decided I was going to do it, then I read the book, then I watched the film, and now it's kind of like background knowledge, but the script is what we're working with.
Because at the start of the book and the film, you don't know whether to trust her.
Yeah.
You don't even like her very much.
No.
And she clearly doesn't like herself. She's the classic unreliable narrator, isn't she?
Yeah.
You don't know what's the truth of all of it.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing in the theatre, because everyone's kind of trying to discover it at the same time that she is. But it is that, I think, she is a very flawed character. All of us are flawed, you know, but because of the alcohol intake. And I've had so many things of, you know, how are you doing the alcohol? Is she drunk the whole time? I'm not falling about the stage. I think alcohol it takes the filter out, and it means that you can pivot really easy. And whatever you're playing it a little bit more heightened. But she's not sort of collapsing around the stage. But it is leaning into the fact that you don't have to be likeable to tell this story. And, yeah, I think...
in the end, you kind of have huge sympathy for her.
Absolutely.
Built, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think so many of us can actually see ourselves in her. And, you know, so big things happen to people in life and it can seem so far away from where you are now, but actually it's a few steps, a few things collapsing can lead you to that place. So, yes, it's definitely a kind of a thriller in the sense of everyone trying to work it out, but there's a very massive part of human connection, which is, yeah, it's great to play.
An intense character to play.
Yes.
So when you come on, so you're on stage here last night in Manchester.
Yeah.
I mean, afterwards, are you just exhausted?
Did you sleep is the question.
How do you mean the bed? Yeah. Are you just drained by the end of it?
I am, and, you know, I'm on stage the whole time, and, you know, different actors come out, and I'm like, OK, we're here. But it's so much fun. It's so much fun. But it definitely is that thing of afterwards kind of having to reconnect with all the cast is really important to me. Going to have a drink is, you know, which the characters probably warn me against, but having a drink. I had one G&T last night and then got to bed quite swiftly, which is why I'm still here today.
Yes. And, you know, obviously, being in the play and moving about, it disrupts your actual home life significantly. How are you managing all of that?
Well, that's what the whole tour is 8 months, and I just couldn't do 8 months. So I'm doing the first 3 months, and then Louisa Lytton takes over, and then Laura Whitmore takes over. So it's kind of like 3 months kind of tag teaming and doing the ultimate mum share. But it is that thing of I drive home on a Saturday night after the Saturday show, which after a two-show day is intense, but I have a nap in between shows. It's all fine. So I have 3 nights in my own bed, which feels like a bit more of a balance, 3 nights from 4. Plus, the kids kind of get it now. Having done a musical at the start of last year, which was the only thing that I've done that the kids can actually come along and watch because everything else has been thrillers, they get what I do now. So when I say I'm on tour, I'm doing a show, they totally get it, which is good.
Rachel in the play is, she's an observer, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's looking out the window. Are you like that in life?
I love it.
Are you nosy?
Yeah, I love being in the coffee. Yeah.
People watching.
Yeah, conversations. You know, just that. I love it because people, especially in today's day and age where people... I remember seeing a woman once having an argument with her husband or partner that she was with, and then he stormed off, and then she took a selfie, and it was that kind of like, cheese, I'm turned on, like switch on the character, the charm, I'm having a good time. Phone went down, face dropped. And it's that thing of what we present and what we actually are sometimes two very, very different things. So, yeah, people watching is always really interesting. You can kind of paint the picture of what they're like.
Which is exactly what Rachel does, isn't she?
Yeah,
exactly. Creating stories,
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite of what you do with your podcast, isn't it? Which is so real.
Yeah.
So honest.
Yeah.
And you've had some incredible guests, including Princess of Wales, talking about being a mom.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because when I became a mum, you know, Instagram and social media were kind of... I felt like motherhood was all crisp white sheets, smiles, baby's always looking pristine, and actually then when you become a mum, you're just, what is this?
Who are these people?
It's so jarring. Yeah. So when I first wrote Have Your Mum Had Baby, because it was a book first, I wanted something that was very real, and I wrote it thinking, the first draft was like, I'll just write it down. I won't self-edit as I go along. I'll just get it all down. And it felt so truthful and real to me that I just thought, actually, this is the book. And then touring with that, there was just felt like such a real honesty and a sense of community and bringing people together that I thought, that is the podcast. We need to continue this conversation. So, yeah, those honest chats. I always feel so honoured when people come on and talk about big things, you know.
Yes.
Talk about baby loss, IVF, talk about mum guilt, talk about, you know, that loss of identity, whatever it is, and lots of humour as well. But it's always so amazing and refreshing to have people on trusting me with their stories.
It's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
in.
you very
Especially
much.
after being up late last night. But, it's great to see you.
A pleasure.
Good luck with Girl on the Train. You are Girl in a Car, actually, quite a lot of the time.
True.
And Giovanna's starring in Girl on the Train. It's until the end of March. The play then continues to tour the UK, as she's saying, until